computer. All right. I think we're going.
Cool.
Hey, here with Finding Nemo propaganda. This is your
What's
deal, man. Go for it. Ask your questions, bro. So Nemo propaganda reached out to me was it today or yesterday?
I think it was last night at like midnight.
Yeah, because I was in a hotel in Houston looking at my emails and I saw it pop up and I've watched it. I've watched your channel quite a bit with your subwoofer. You do a lot of subwoofer reviews, right?
So I do like everything, but it's basically like my channel's small, so I do have to buy a lot of the gear myself.
Yeah.
So I just review like what my current kick is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
right now it is subwoofers. I am like really like how you can just go into that rabbit hole of obsession
Yeah.
to find the
Yeah.
one. It's where I am, and everybody else is along for the ride. You know what I mean? And thanks for
Yeah.
checking out some of my stuff, man. I've definitely
Well,
watched a lot
no,
of your stuff too.
before before I even dreamed of starting a channel, I saw a lot of your reviews. So, uh, no, dude, it's really cool to
Thank you.
have you ask me to record something.
Well,
Well, that was
honestly,
fun.
so
So
one of
far,
my
fun so far.
subscribers.
All right, guys. So next time we're gonna talk to somebody else. Okay. Oh, bro, I appreciate it. So, but you had like a list of questions. So if you want to roll right into those, man, whatever you want.
Okay, definitely. So the first question I have is just like because I want to know who's like funding this. Who is today's sponsor?
Oh, you can't put me on the spot like that. Hold
Oh
on.
no, okay.
Hold on. All right.
That's what I thought it was. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, Charles is nostalgic handkerchiefs. If you're
God
anything
bless.
if you're anything like me, you grew up on the farm and your dad and your grandfather blew their nose into fine linen and put it back in their pocket and kept doing that.
I thought it was fine linen. I'm glad it wasn't wrong.
No, it is fine linen. This is like it's like a 2000 count Egyptian cotton. And yeah, I've been using this. I've had this for the last 5 years. Actually, I don't even know what this. Oh no, sorry.
Um,
They're gonna have,
Randy,
they're gonna have to send me a new one.
I'm sure they will. They will. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I came up with some questions. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say. So, like, you talk about buying a lot of your stuff, and of course, you know, that's how I got started. I actually got started by my parents came. My parents moved to Arizona. They retired to Arizona, and I had a whole bunch of stuff in the basement. So they dropped off this big box. In it was my toys from when I was a kid, like GI Joe and Star Wars stuff. And I'm like, I'm just gonna sell this. So I was thinking about selling the entire box for like $100. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna actually see what people think this is worth. And like I ended up getting like about 2 grand from selling all these
Whoa.
toys. Yeah. And so hold on, I just changed I don't know how to work this mic. So I'm like, okay, I'm buying some good stuff for myself. And I never had like aspirations to start a YouTube channel. But about the Kef LS50 and a Moon by Sim Audio integrated amp. And that's like a $1,500 speaker. And I bought it used. And then a $2,500 amp and I bought it used. And I hooked it up and I was like, this is it. This is what $4,000 gets you. And I'm like, I got mad. And guys at work were like, dude, you should start a YouTube channel because I always give them advice on what kind of headphones to get. And so I did. And it's been pretty cool so far.
I love that. I love that.
So
I
it started
my
with toys.
Well, it started with a little bit of frustration, really, right? And that's kind of
Yeah.
the
So
experience I had.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so like I had pre-ordered the Bucard S400,
Yeah.
and for anyone that doesn't know, that first pre-order was about a 9 to 10 month wait,
Yeah.
right? Mads ran into like delay after delay for various reasons. He kept us all up to date every step of the way, which is awesome. Hats off to him
Did you
there.
have to pay for
But
it up front
yeah, yeah.
in its
And
entirety? Huh? Cool.
yeah, yeah. And and that sight unseen, nobody had ever heard them. They didn't exist yet.
Right.
And it took so long that I was like, I got to scratch the itch. I got to buy something else. So I hopped on some like review pages, written reviews, and one magazine out of the UK rated the Dyne Audio M10 is the best speaker at $800. They gave it an
Yeah.
award.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with the Rebel Concerta 2 M16. So I bought the Dyne Audio first, and I was like, huh, speaker of the year, huh? And then I got the Rebel, and that was a lot better, but I was still like, speaker of the year, huh? For its price category. And I did feel a little bit misleaded. And for whatever reason, I got frustrated and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna share like my opinion because I ended up using the YouTube format because I stopped trusting magazine articles at that point and I
Yeah.
turned to YouTube instead and I found guys like Zeos,
Right.
Sean,
Right.
Thomas,
Yeah.
Ron, and
Yeah.
I trusted what they were saying a lot more. And when I would buy the stuff they talked about, my experience was quite a bit more in line with what they described.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
I found it so useful. I just wanted to give back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's I did. I had a subscription to some of those like way back. So I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I like legit was obsessed with stereo stuff from the beginning. And so I had a subscription. I can't remember what magazine it was, but all the stuff they were writing about was so like extraordinarily expensive. And as a kid, there's no way. And so I don't know, it's interesting. I think that's where, and I've talked to some guys in the industry, like manufacturers, and they're like, we get so much more exposure from YouTube than we do from, the even the online magazines at this point. And so it's really interesting that, YouTube's given idiots like myself a platform to talk about this stuff. And I don't know, man, it's very, very humbling. And the whole experience has been super humbling. And it's just a blast. I really enjoy it.
God bless. That's what I like to hear, honestly. Because it's a hobby first, right? It should be fun.
Yeah, it
So
should be a passion, right?
exactly. So yeah, I came up with some questions just to just kind of, vibe with you, right? So the
Yeah.
first one I wrote down, right, is like,
How old are
and
you? Because I see that you wear your hat flat.
yeah,
A lot of the
yeah.
kids do that these days. It's a lot of fun for them. Uh, and it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Is
I
this
like a
better?
real rounded bill, low down. Don't mess up your hat. I'm not asking you to do that. But like, it's come full circle. And I'm like, I see these hats that have like a flat bill. I'm like, what is that?
So I'm 37, and
Okay, you're not
the
too far off. You're just cooler than I
no,
am. You're in touch. You're on TikTok, I bet.
I'm not because I've heard it just steals your information. You know what I mean? And I don't know if
Oh,
that's even
you're
true or not.
one of those conspiracy theorists. That's all right.
Yes, I am. I am honestly,
Yeah.
but I do watch TikTok videos on Instagram Reels. So I'm one of those people that thinks I'm better than people on TikTok,
Yeah.
even though I watch TikTok, but I watch it
Yeah.
on Instagram instead
Yeah.
because that makes me feel better.
What's Instagram?
Get out of here. Stop it. You
No,
know what
is that
Instagram
no
is.
Pony Express?
Really?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I know
Oh,
it. I
God.
don't know how to work it, but I do know that it exists.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, and it's ironic actually. So, the first question, right, is how reliable are online reviewers like us?
Well, I think that depends, right? Because we all have our own different proclivities. And when I first started, I really was like I was reviewing things from my perspective, what I liked.
Right.
And what I like is not what everybody else likes. And so I try to change the process and just tell it what I hear. Now I still have my preferences, but I don't know, I try to kind of frame it up as to this is what I hear. This is who I think it would be good for. If you're looking for something different, then this probably isn't the speaker for you, because that's the frustrating part for me. You look at a speaker, it gives you specs, but I feel like a speaker falls into, three categories. You got maybe a warmer, laid back speaker, you have a neutral speaker, then you have an exciting speaker. And so nobody tells you that. Nobody tells you, hey, this is an exciting speaker. Nobody tells you, hey, this amp is lush on the bottom and it would pair well with an exciting speaker. it's all just a guessing game, right? You just have to
Mm-hmm.
keep buying stuff and then pairing it with stuff. So that was a frustrating part for me too.
I strongly agree, honestly, and I've almost wondered, like, say a speaker's like a V curve speaker, why isn't it described that way? If you go to a restaurant, for example, right,
Yeah.
and you read the menu and a dish is spicy,
Yeah,
it
right.
will clearly describe that. They're not going to kind of go about it in a roundabout way to try to get a broad audience. They're not going to be like, well, this dish, some may find it flavorful, others may
Or
find it fun.
yeah, or what here's a wine that we suggest you pair with it. Not, well, if you want wine, you're going to have to buy 6 different glasses and try them out. And then I use the food analogy is a great analogy because it's kind of like also like you have different pricing, right? And so like you can have a chef make you chicken fried steak, and
Yeah.
he finest, farm grown. He went out in his backyard, he dug up whatever it was, threw it in there. It's so great. Oh, so awesome. Or you can have like a short order cook at a solid diner make a chicken fried steak, and you got it stuff down at Walmart, and they both taste awesome, right? Whether or not you really prefer the chef chicken fried steak, I don't even know if chefs make chicken fried steak. They should,
Oh,
because
I'm sure there's one.
it's delicious. I have it every morning for breakfast. Plate
No,
of
you
cinnamon
don't.
rolls and a pot of coffee.
No, you don't. Get
No,
out of here.
I don't. I would love to though. That sounds amazing,
It does.
doesn't it? Right? Sometimes I make biscuits and gravy, and I get the gravy real thick, like spackle, and then I put a bunch of salt and pepper on it.
I did one time, just because I know we're sidetracking here, but I gotta say this. Just because I could, because I'm an adult now, I
Yeah,
ate ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 days straight.
yeah. Why shouldn't you? You pay the bills. You get to make the decisions.
That's how I felt, honestly. So, I mean, let
Yeah.
me give you my spin on the like how reliable are online reviewers, right? And so I think it's important, like we're as reliable as the audience allows us to be, meaning like if I'm going to watch you, for example, right, I should not watch just one of your videos.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
I think I should watch a lot of your videos. I think I should subscribe to your channel. I think I should get an idea for like what does Randy mean specifically when he says X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
And there's context, right? Because sometimes we'll say something like over here, and then 3 videos later we're talking about something and it kind of relates a little bit. And having the whole big picture helps a lot. So I think we're about as reliable as the people let us be. Because I've had people hop on my channel, leave a comment, and I could tell they've this is the only video of mine they've seen. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They
Yeah.
didn't hear me talk about what I thought about this thing 6 videos ago that totally gives tons of context to what I just said.
Yeah.
It's almost like a TV show. You got to
Yeah.
stay up
Yeah.
to date just a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's also important. Like, if you have a product as a viewer, and then you or I put up a review, watch that review and see what your experience is like. Because if our opinions kind of line up what you've heard personally, as in the owner of the product, then I think that's probably a pretty good indication that reviewer's somewhat reliable.
Yeah. I mean, I always try to remember like Ron, for example, right? He's mentioned this a few times. He's fairly sensitive in picking up any inconsistencies or driver integration issues in that upper mid range area, right?
Hmm.
I am too.
Yeah.
So if he says like he notices that in the speaker,
I lost you, buddy. I can't I can't hear your audio. Can you still hear me? I still can't hear you.
can,
Oh, okay, now you're back. You're back. You're
oh,
back. You're back.
I didn't even do anything.
No, it's my stupid internet, man.
Oh man, stupid internet.
Yeah.
But so no, all I was saying is I know Ron is sensitive into picking up like high frequency, I'm sorry, upper mid range, like where the midwoofer and the treble crossover. And
Yeah.
I am too. And I know if he can pick up on it, I probably won't like that speaker a whole lot myself, or
I
you know what I
get
mean?
you.
I just know that. So
Do you try
that's
to like remove your, and I'm not saying bias isn't a bad way, but we all have bias, right?
sure.
Do you try to remove that and just talk about the positives, negatives, where the use case scenario with the speaker? Or is it just like Finding Nemo doesn't like it? It's garbage, and you knock it off the speaker stand and then kick the woofer
So
out. Maybe take a 9 iron and just you get it real hard.
I'm a little subjective, honestly, and I do my best to make it really clear when I'm being subjective. Like the Dynadio M10, it's no secret I just hate that speaker.
Okay.
But I clearly gave three very good reasons on why I didn't like that speaker. I
Yeah.
think it'd be clear to anyone that some of that is subjective, but a lot of it actually makes sense also. So that Dynadio M10, it's just not voiced like any other Dynadio speaker, period. So it's just a bad representation of the brand,
Right. Okay.
right? And you're definitely going to see like my heat and emotion when I'm saying that in that video. I'm like definitely taking like an F this thing kind of like approach where I want to like knock it off the stand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's like the vibe of it. But when I'm speaking, I do try to kind of take myself out of it and make sure
Right.
the words I'm saying are correct, they're true, and they're not really influenced by personal opinion. I will get subjective on looks all the time, though.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
Um, I'm a sucker for a good-looking speaker.
Well, who isn't? I was
Yeah.
talking to one of my viewers the other day about oh, it was the Wharfdale Diamond 11.2, which personally I really love that speaker. Now it's not for everybody. It's
Yeah.
really thick on the bottom, but he was able to pick up a pair of 11.2s in white. And I was just like, dude, if you don't like them, I'm buying them from you, because that, to me, that's a sexy looking speaker. I get it.
You know, some people don't care. I don't. There's a company called Von Gaylord, and they make speakers that are kind of geometrical. I don't
Okay.
find them good looking. And I remember I saw on one of the Facebook groups someone was talking about them, and I said, I don't think they're good looking at all. But then like half the people in the group were like, who cares? They sound
Right.
fantastic, and they do sound fantastic.
Yeah.
But half the people just didn't care. And
Well,
that's
for
cool, I guess.
sure. And that's, that comes down to personal preference. I don't like watermelon. I would say most people like watermelon. It doesn't mean like the ELAC debut, or not ELAC debut, the ELAC Unify UB52, I think for the price, in my opinion, is the best speaker out there.
Okay.
It doesn't look very nice. It's cheap. It Even the drivers, the stuff like that, it doesn't look good. But to me, I don't particularly care about that. Now, I do think some speakers look real good. And I like that, but I'll take sound over looks every day of the week.
All right. So actually, let me ask you about the ELAC UB52.
Yeah.
That's not a speaker I've heard.
Yeah.
That's a situation where it's a little bit odd because we've got another speaker by the same company, the DBR62, for the exact same money to the
Yep.
penny.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
What do you think about that?
As far as like, should they have two speakers at the same price point?
No, like, well, I guess, do you think, are they different enough?
Oh yeah. Oh, for
Really?
sure. Yeah, the debut reference is a lot more lush, and not a lot, but it's more full on the bottom. Um, the thing about that speaker, and I described early on, I did a review of that because that was one of, like, when I first got into that was my destination speaker.
Mm,
And the comment that I had on it, and I still stand by it, is it can make digital music through a very analytical DAC sound analog. So that's what I like. And it's not necessarily super accurate as far as like tonality and how it's presenting the music, but to me, the way it presents the music, it editorializes the music a bit, right? It's putting its
mm,
spin on the music. And to me, it's very pleasing. Whereas the UB52 is flat neutral. And depending upon what you have feeding it, that speaker completely gives you what the music is. And like, I use a couple of tracks like BC Boys Intergalactic and Marilyn Manson Killing Strangers. And then I use ACDC Shoot to, or not, Highway to Hell, because Highway to Hell has a really tight, almost, it's not almost even bassy with the bass drum, and it's just like, and it did that, right? And then
Yeah.
it did Marilyn Manson. It's just like, whoa. And I mean, just so I was like, whoa, this speaker gives you what the what the music gives you. And I can tell if a speaker is leaning towards warm or, a little bit bumped in the bass. I can tell when I listen to Highway to Hell when that bass drum feels thick, and I'm just like, okay, this is a warmer, thicker speaker on the bottom. And I don't care because I like a little bit of bump in the bass. Who doesn't like a little meat on the bones?
Yeah. Okay. I
That's just
appreciate you
me.
explaining that.
Yeah, so
Uh,
while they're at the same price point, I think they coexist well, and I think they could coexist. To me, the best $500 speaker is two $250 speakers that sound different. And
hmm.
then you put one in the closet for a couple of months, maybe put some jackets over it so that it's real nice when someone breaks into your house. They can't see the speaker because the jackets are on it. And you take it out and you listen to it for 3 months. And then you take the other one out. And now all of a sudden you're having a completely different musical experience. You're enjoying the music in a different way. And I think everybody has a certain preference, of course. Okay, well, I like this type of sound, but I think they're cheating themselves out of a different experience. And if you can get two speakers that are voiced differently and you can afford those speakers, especially bookshelves, right? Because you can put them anywhere, put them under your desk and pull them out and then listen to that other sound sig. And I guarantee you, if you stick with that, you'll start to appreciate the differences in sound signatures on speakers.
I love that you said that. I literally do that.
Yeah.
That's literally so my two speakers. By the way, I love the DBR62 a lot. That's a great speaker. Um, and by the way, I just want to say, for anyone watching this, this is our first time talking to each other. We
Yeah.
exchanged a couple of emails, then hopped on this thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you, honestly, Randy. Super cool of you.
Oh,
Um,
I appreciate you reaching out to me, bro. I mean, the
yeah,
YouTube community has been so kind. And it is like at the end of the day, we're all guys that are obsessed with audio. So
yeah.
of course we're gonna have that common bond and it's just fun to geek out.
So the two speakers I use, right? Um, I use the Bucard S400 that you can see right here.
Mm-hmm.
Love this speaker. It's going to be on the darker side of neutral, on its top end for sure. Super laid back. You can just listen to it for hours. Very thick, warm in the bass region, right? Love it so much. I just do. The speaker that I listen to the other half of the time is the total opposite, which is the Focal Cora 806.
Okay, yeah.
It's not bright, but by direct comparison, you definitely would call it bright. Its amount of detail is like almost overwhelming at first.
Mm-hmm.
It has hardly any bass of its own. It is just such a different experience, and I love both of them so
Right.
much.
Yeah.
And I do what you're talking about, where I'll keep this up for like a month or two, and then I'll swap to the Focal, and I'll keep that up for a month or two if I'm not reviewing, bookshelf speakers at the time.
Yeah.
And what that's done for me, and this is why I say what you just said is 100% right about if you can own two cheaper ones, because this has now stopped me from hunting for more better gear, different speakers, because if I'm listening to the S400 and I'm like, I wonder if there's better out there, I start to get itchy. I just throw
Right.
the focals up and I got a different flavor all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Um, I got a marriage joke, but I'm going to hold that back. I don't know how your audience is. I'm sure they can figure it out. But yeah, I love that you said that. And I agree. Guys, if you can have like a second pair of speakers that are voiced totally differently, do it. It's a luxury. I'll admit that it's a huge luxury, but
Yeah.
spend the money. You can't take it to the grave, right?
Yeah. I like cheeseburgers, but if I ate them every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, at some point I'm gonna want something different, right?
Absolutely. All right, let
Although
me
I
see
could
what
probably do that.
you could until you couldn't anymore, I'd
Yeah.
say, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And then, we might have to you would have to change the vibe of the channel a little bit, I think. Maybe get a wider lens,
Yeah. Yeah. I'd probably be falling asleep quite a bit.
I
Breathing
actually have a
heavy.
friend that does that. He ate so many cheeseburger, he packed on so many pounds, he would start passing out. We Googled it, and there actually is a condition from health being so bad your blood can't carry enough oxygen. And he ended up losing the poundage. God bless him.
Well, that's fantastic, and I'm very happy for your friend that he's not on death's door because he ate too many double cheeseburgers from Whataburger.
Yeah, yeah, me too. All right, the next question I wrote down is what's your favorite part of the hobby?
Ooh, I think it's the aha moments for me. Because everything that I listen to, and I come from a background that was really affordable. Uh,
Mm.
and I think it's the first time I heard really great imaging and sound staging was another ELAC speaker, the original debut B6s. And I honestly felt like I heard a track, it's Drive In by Drive In Drive Out by Dave Matthews Band. In the beginning, there's a guitar and it's stepped back, right? And it's really centered. And like I'm listening to it and I'm like, I legit thought I had some speaker somewhere on my desk behind the wall. And I'm like, what is this? And then that was like my first aha moment with soundstage and imaging. And at that point, I'm hooked, right? Because you can't unhear that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was, so it's the aha moments. It's like I have the Vista Audio Spark, really affordable, small 20-watt integrated amp. And the level of detail and spaciousness from that amplifier, really, I haven't heard except for on really expensive stuff. And it's just, tube amps on headphones. When I put on tube and I hear the air and I hear the space and I hear everything and I'm just like, it's just a new discovery of finding different aspects of that's my favorite thing. And finding like a killer deal that anybody could aspire to get. Like the Sony SSCS5s, I know ad nauseum people have talked about it, but it's a legit audiophile speaker. It's got a treated paper woofer, the tone on the bass, the mid-range is pretty flat. The treble is super extended while not being fatiguing. It's a legit audiophile speaker and it goes down to 75 bucks. And
Is that three-way one? That's like I think its MSRP is like 179 or so.
well, so it vacillates between three prices: $75, and that'll be like around Black Friday, holidays, and every once in a while, 120, which it is right now, and then about
Mm.
150. So 150 is actually the top end on that speaker, and that's one of the only speakers that has those pricing shenanigans, I call them, that I would
Yeah.
still recommend at full MSRP.
There's one other speaker that's got some serious shenanigans. I actually just filmed a review for it that I'll probably post this week, or it might be up by the time this goes live. It's so the KEF Q150,
Oh yeah, I like that
600
speaker.
bucks, or
No,
50% off 300 bucks.
it's a great $300 speaker.
You know, you know what I decided? I decided to chop it right in the middle, and it's up like 450 bucks at MSRP.
Why don't they just leave it at that?
That's what I said in the video. I said because I felt like with such if there's so much room, if there's such a margin on it that they can do a 50% off so often, and they
And
do do it
they're still
often.
making money at 300 bucks.
Oh, nobody works for free, baby. Of course. Yeah.
Well, and so I have mentioned that in multiple videos. Kef does it, Klipsch does it, ELAC to a lesser extent, but they still do it.
Polk.
JBL, Polk, um,
Yeah.
Sony. So, and that's a traditionally distributed speaker, right? So that's going through importing, just distribution, and then to dealers, right? And then people are commenting about that and they're like, no, that's a supply and demand. I'm telling you, that is not a supply and demand, because once one goes on sale, they all follow suit, right? So
Yeah.
once the RP 600M goes down to 440 bucks, all the other speakers in that category, they drop at the same time, and they're owned by different companies, right? And it's not a supply and demand issue, because I know a couple people that are dealers and they're like, we can't compete at that level. We just can't compete because our distributor bought it at X. They have to get their markup and I have to get my markup. And so the whole thing, and it doesn't even, that pricing methodology doesn't help their own distributors or their own dealers.
I
And
agree.
it just is shocking to me. Like you have Emotiva, their price is their price. SVS, their price is their price.
Yep.
Fluence, their price is their price. Even some traditionally distributed products keep their price. Like the ELAC debut reference rarely goes below 600. Rarely. I
I've
don't.
never seen it happen, honestly.
The Unify UB52 generally is solid at 600. Right now, it's down to about 500. But those two speakers from ELAC, now they play some pricing games with like the debut B6.2, the debut 5.2. They go up and down, but I don't get it. I'm like, make a product, stand behind it, say this is a good speaker at this price, and
Yep.
quit confusing the consumers and making them feel compelled because it's on sale. And it's not a supply issue. There's plenty of distributors that have those
No,
speakers in stock.
it's 100% not. And I actually remember when Emotiva they sent out an email blast to all their customers, more like, hey, we're not doing sales anymore. We've made some adjustments to our prices. We've brought them down where we can. And from now on, Emotiva products will be sold year round for the same price.
Yeah.
Outside of B stock, blem, or renewed products. And as a consumer, when I read that email, I was like, yeah, I like that. I like the sound of that a lot because I think a lot of us, um, no matter kind of where our budget is, even, we're like, we're constantly living in fear of like making this purchase and then it being cheaper later. Like if I bought the Q150 for 600 bucks and then just 4 months later or whatever, they were half the price. Can you imagine if you bought a car and a few months later it was half the price?
No.
Whoa, I would lose my mind. I'd be
Well,
so out.
think about someone that bought that at $600 and then is ready to move on and wants to sell it on the used market. And
Oh
now that
yeah.
speaker's $300. So
Yep.
you just cut the legs out of a customer of yours. It's
Hmm.
their customer. They put their hard-earned money up for that speaker, and now they can't even sell it unless it's less than half the price. And that I think is irresponsible, and it's a middle finger to your own consumers.
Strongly agree. Strongly agree. I'm happy you actually got into that. Oh, hey, hopefully they'll,
I don't know
kind
if
of
it,
people will follow what Emotiva does and just give a little bit of a lower price year round, and that's that. I love
well,
that.
the problem is those companies are generally pretty large, and they have
Yeah.
a go-to-market strategy in place. It's proven to be effective.
Yeah.
They're just making margin on top of margin when they get to sell it at MSRP. So unless the market speaks and starts to not pay full retail, then there's never going to be a change because there's no reason to change. They're making their money and they're making more of it. I think it's I think it's good for folks like you and I to be able to discuss that though and bring it up and do it in a fashion that trying to elicit change for the consumer. Being an
Yeah.
advocate for us because we are the consumer. I've got a whole box of stuff right to the left that I paid full retail for. It's
Oh
sitting
yeah.
right here.
Oh yeah. All right. So if you don't mind, I
Sorry,
want to
I
answer
get a
that
little
question.
excited.
Oh no, I love that. I love that. I really do.
Yeah.
Look, the reason I wanted to do this with you is because like I seen you do it with like Ron at first, and I was like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. And one of my subscribers was like, hey, would you do a video with cheap audio, man? And I was like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure him and Ron just have their thing going, and I don't want to like
No,
get
I
into that. But
mean,
then I saw you did them with other people, and I'm like, oh, you
well,
know
those
what?
are
I'm just gonna email them.
those are some of those are between two speakers, which is a total joke. But Steve Gutenberg and I had a little chat in between two speakers, and yeah, for sure, it's a blast. I mean, Ron's got his own podcast as well, so you know,
Really? I didn't know that. I'm on his Patreon and
Yeah.
everything, but I didn't know he had a podcast.
He has a great podcast, and he just did
Really?
interview with Hegel. It's fantastic. I was on a plane.
Why isn't he plugging that a little bit? Ron,
Yeah.
if you're watching this, tell, like, I'm a fan. Like, let the fans know about the podcast. I think a
Yeah.
lot of us don't know. It's like Zero Fidelity has a Patreon. He never talks about it. Let us
Yeah.
know. We want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say what my favorite part of the hobby is, right?
Sorry. Yeah.
You know, like it's this. You know what I mean? It's the conversations. It's
Yeah.
responding to the comments. You know what I mean? It's those times where like someone comments on an old comment and they're like, "Oh man, this was just what I was looking for." You
Yeah.
know, or someone gives an update. They're like, "Yo, I got that piece of gear you like talked about and give me advice on, man. It was like it was super good."
Yeah.
I love those moments, man. And because like my whole life, I've had so many friends. I feel super blessed to have always had like these large friend groups, but I've almost never had like audio friends in real life.
Yeah.
I got friends that are into guns, cars, gambling,
Oh, yeah.
golf,
Gambling is a
off
fun thing for
roading.
everybody.
Oh, I'm not a fan of the gambling myself. I'm a bad loser. I'm a bad loser, let me tell you.
I had a audio equipment shouldn't cost more than buying 5 burner phones when you're on the lam because of your gambling. And you still want to communicate with your loved ones.
Honestly, that's my favorite part of your videos when you say that like audio shouldn't cost more than like those.
Yeah.
I love those bits. Like, please never stop them. Like, I love them.
I'm running out of stuff. I have to
Ma-
I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to talk about this time?
well, I'm sure if you pray on it, the Lord will speak through you. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I'll be a vessel for
Yeah.
for the person that created the universe and created quantum physics that we can't even figure out. I'll be a vessel for his opinions on audio.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, he's got to care about it. I mean, he made it, right?
Music, yeah.
Let me see what else I have. Okay, this next question is, I think this will be cool. It's let's pick a few pieces of gear we've both reviewed and just kind of chat about it. I know we both reviewed the DBR62 by ELAC, the IOTA VX SA3, the Emotiva TA100, which is I have emotions about, honestly, and the Emotiva SE8 subwoofer. I know we liked all 4 of those items, and there might be some more crossover as well, but those were the 4 that just boom came to mind immediately when I typed this up.
TA100. Why is it emotional for you?
All right, I'll try to keep it super brief, but about I want to say 9 years ago now, my life was in a bad spot, and I do mean like really bad.
Okay.
And I was leaving a really toxic relationship, and it was one of those situations where it was so bad when I was leaving, I just left everything at the girl's house I was living with, my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Aren't you going to at least take your stereo?" Like with this like attitude, and I looked at her, and I'd put her through hell too. I'll admit that, okay. And I was like, you know what? You seem to like it too. You can have it. And I left everything behind, and I started this new life. I moved to another city and everything, and I was super broke. I didn't have much. I was on unemployment at the time, and I saw Steve Guttenberg's review of Emotiva products. It was the A100 amp. It was only $229 back then.
Yeah. Still is.
Yeah, it still is. Yeah,
Still
God bless
is.
it, still is, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. And for anyone who thinks it's a headphone amp, it's not. A lot of people think that because Zeos reviewed it as a headphone amp, but it's actually a stereo amp. But I bought that and a pair of their smaller speakers, and that was my gateway back into audio.
Yeah.
And the TA100, I would have come to buy about a year later when I had more money.
Yeah.
But that first Emotiva A100 and their little satellite speaker system was $350. I bought it with unemployment money, and it was my ray of light, in this like dark spot. Because when you're like broken inside, for anyone who knows, you forget what makes you happy when you're hurting.
Yeah, for sure.
You forget. And when that Emotiva amp played with those speakers, and I heard music for like what had seemed like the first time in a long time, and I remembered what joy was, I will never forget that experience. And that wasn't always the case. You couldn't always buy gear so cheap that was so good. So
right.
Emotiva being able to do that, and they're not the only one. There's a few other, good brands that are super affordable, but
Yeah.
it'll just always have a special place in my heart. And the TA100 is literally an A100 with tone controls, remote volume control,
Phono
subwoofer
amp,
output. Yeah,
DAC.
it's a
Yeah.
featured up A100, right? And
Yeah.
I own
Yeah.
both of them, and I still
Yeah.
use them actually.
There's a
Um,
titch different power on them, but I love the TA100. It is my reference amp. Now I've actually run that. I have the A300 now. So the
mm,
TA100 is really basically just acting as a preamp at this point. But to me, that is absolutely without a doubt the best value in integrated amp. You have a decent phono stage, you have a decent, and I'm not saying even decent, it's pretty gosh darn good phono stage. You got a great DAC, you have tone controls, you have great power, you have a sound signature for it's pretty neutral. It doesn't color the sound a ton.
no,
And
no, it
you
doesn't.
got
Yeah.
great power. You got 50 into 8, you got 90 into 4. There is nothing the only
Dual subwoofer outputs too,
do and people are like, no, it's an
and
RCA.
pre-outs.
It's an RCA out. No, I'm like, no, each one of those is a summed out. They,
Hmm.
they're different. They look like RCAs, but they're summed out.
Yep.
And that to me represents the best value that you can get because it's all good gear. And people will say, well, the tone, there's no physical tone. I'm like, just do it 10 times. Change the bass 10 times, figure out how to do it, and then change the treble 10 times, and you're done. It's just getting used to something else. I can't say enough about it. It's right there.
Strongly agree. I have mine upstairs. It handles TV duty in my living room. I have it connected to the monitor audio bronze 100s, the
How do
newest
you
one, the
like those?
6G ones. Didn't love them for music at all.
Okay.
It so
8-inch woofer, right?
after yeah, 8-inch woofer, and it actually does not have a ton of bass. It has a ton of extension, but not a
Mm-hmm.
ton of bass actually. The ELAC DBR62 has more bass quantity by quite a bit. The bronze 100 is a fantastic speaker for like TVs, movies, video games, Netflix. It's so intelligible. It doesn't get it's not like overly dynamic like some gear is. I love it for TV duty. My beef with it was in the video, I felt like it was not worth 600 bucks. And in the video, I said, I think it's worth 400 bucks tops. And then a cool thing happened. One of my subscribers was like, hey, I'm in Europe. Just so you know, this speaker is like 350 bucks here. It's only 600 bucks in the US. You guys are getting ripped off.
Mm.
And I was like, boom, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So it is a much cheaper speaker in reality. It's just marked up here for because of, freight, shipping, taxes, and greed, right?
Yeah.
It's not a $600 speaker. That's my beef with it. At
Yeah.
400 bucks, I think it's great. I think a lot of people will
Yeah.
love it, but I had to review it for what it actually cost.
Sure.
For
And I had to do the same thing. So there's a speaker, the PSB Alpha 5 or P5.
P3 or P5,
P5. Okay, that's what it is.
not a fan.
Okay, so I'm listening to that, and I actually kind of enjoyed it, and I thought it was great. The build quality was suspect to me, and then the price at $399. I said this is a $250 to a $300 speaker
Yep.
max, and actually, if you can still get the ELAC debut B6, I think that's a much better speaker than the P5. P5 sounds a bit like it. I don't think it sound stages as well. I don't think it images as well. And at the time, the B6, and I think you can still find them on Amazon for $230. I'm like, there's no way the P5 competes at $400. Just no way. Kef Q150, I think, torches it at 300.
Emotiva B1 at 229 destroys it.
Well, the thing about the B1 Plus, though, completely different sound sig, right? Ultra clarity. That speaker is so good at
Yeah.
$230. And so what I try to do is I try to compare like for like. Like if I try to compare the sound signatures, right? Because if someone likes that sound of the P5 or the B6 and they get the the B1 Plus. Don't get me wrong, I think they're gonna like it, but there's gonna be like, whoa, this is a lot different. This is a
Yeah.
way different sound signature.
No, I definitely agree. Good point. Okay. That was good. That was good. I'm
Thank you.
happy we both share our passion for Emotiva. And I do want to say they are one of the few companies that have actually sent me gear to review. I've sent it back. Of course, it's only on loan, but I, is that their new headphone?
Yeah,
It looks amazing, honestly.
it sounds amazing too.
If I was a headphone user, I would buy that, but I'm not because I have fragile ears.
Yeah,
And in-ear headphones actually will make I have sensitive ear canals, I guess. My
yeah,
ears will bleed no matter what. Yeah, yeah. The first time it happened, it was both of them. I thought I had brain damage because that's what you see in movies, right?
yeah.
I literally just
Or
hurried off
like
to the
some
emergency
type
room.
of space thing that got in your ear.
Yeah, no, I thought I was dying. I was so scared. And I went to the doctor and she looks inside of the urgent care and she's like, "What are you putting in your ears?" I'm like, "Well, I just got off a flight. I was wearing headphones." She was like, "No more, never again. Your ear canals are super sensitive." I didn't know that was a thing. Maybe there's some other people out there that feel my pain, but I can't, unfortunately. And as a result, I guess I just gave up on the whole category, I suppose. But when I saw the intro video to those Emotiva headphones, I was like, "That's going to be a hit." I just knew it.
They're solid. I mean, and I've been accused of like being in the bag with Emotiva, and I'll tell you, I bought the TA100. I
Yeah,
bought the A100 and ended up sending it back because I knew I bought both of them knowing I was going to keep one, and I bought the TA100. I bought the B1 Plus. I bought
yeah.
all of that stuff. It wasn't till fairly recently that Emotiva sent me some things. So it's just a good company. They haven't made anything. I haven't heard anything that I thought was not worth it.
Yeah, no, I strongly agree. And that's the same situation I had. I bought the B1, I bought the TA100, I bought the A100, I bought the Fusion Flex amp they had, and the S10 subwoofer they had back in the day. They discontinue subwoofers all the time for some reason. And I originally reviewed the B1s I bought for myself. And I just sent it to them like, "Yo, I did this, check it out." And they're like, "Hey, we got a new version of that. You want to check it out?" And I was like, "Me? You want to send me that?" Like, "Yeah, please." Oh my God. I felt a little bit emotional, honestly, a little bit that they would even do that.
Dude, I'm
Um,
right with you. I am still shocked and amazed that
yeah,
people are sending me stuff. And
yeah,
I feel I just feel so humbled and lucky, but I wanted to get back to my roots. So I'm like, most of this stuff is less than $250
yeah.
for sure.
All
For
right, let me
sure.
see. Let me see what else I got here on this list. Okay. I want to talk about the SE8 subwoofer, but I don't want to overwhelm people with Emotiva. You can watch both of our videos about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Okay. What's one or two things either of us wish would be different about the hobby or the industry?
Ooh. Well, that's easy for me. I think it's the people. Um,
Mm,
and
mm,
I think it's higher end people. And it's not all higher end people. It's the folks that have what I call contempt prior to investigation. They look
mm,
at something, they say it's this price, it can't possibly be good. And I used to get really defensive in the comments when people just make broad statements like, well, the reason why the LS50 sounded like garbage to you is because you had it hooked up to the TA100. First of all, that isn't true. I had the LS50 hooked up to the Moon by Sim Audio, and I had the
yeah.
LS50 hooked up to the Anthem integrated 225, both of which the Anthem's discontinued, but that was like a $2,200 integrated. The Moon was a 25, and still I think it's sold today. So don't tell me what I had these hooked up to. Um, but it's people that make emotional statements without having any evidence or even experience with those products. And I've asked them, "Oh, this is much better headphone than that, or this is much better speaker than that." I go, "How much time did you spend with the one that you're just throwing stuff on?" "Well, none. I never owned it." Okay.
I love that. That's
Or
great.
when you A-B'd these speakers next to each other, what did you think? What was the differences that you heard? Well, I never A-B'd them. All right. But I think this hobby attracts, I would say, intelligent people for sure. I think it attracts very opinionated people, and I think it's full of propaganda.
Hey,
I think it is. And when people start to have emotional arguments about things, painting with broad strokes, and have no experience with equipment and have never A-B'd that stuff with equipment and talk about things as being factual, that in a subjective hobby, how can you talk about and make broad statements about something that is at its core subjective and,
mm,
and have no evidence to back that up? How you can't do that about anything else. You can't say, "Oh, Chili's is garbage. I'll never eat there. I only eat this other place. It's garbage." Well, have you been there? When's the last time you were there? And have you tried this? Well, no, it's garbage. That's
you know what
what
people do
frustrates
that
me.
with? People do that with spam all the time. You know how many people I've met in my life that say spam is garbage? And ask them, have you tried it? And most of them haven't. You know who you are out there, you spam haters that have never eaten real spam. I'm going to say spam is amazing. We got a whole state that loves it. There's whole countries that love it. Spam is delicious. I digress, but I love what you said.
Dude,
I strongly agree.
you know who's a
What?
spam fan?
Oh,
This guy. When I was growing up, I grew up on a farm in Nebraska. We didn't have a ton of money. Nobody did this. So we didn't know we were poor, right? Because
right.
everybody was the same, right? We always had
Yeah.
clothes. We always had food. We didn't know we were poor. I didn't know we were poor. My mom would take spam, cube it up, put it on uh, a hamburger bun, half a hamburger bun, and then I don't know. She made some sauce. She'd put it on there and then broil it. Dude, that was one of my favorite meals, man. Spam cubes on a hamburger bun, broiled.
I would eat that right now, honestly.
I, you know what? Anybody that hasn't eaten spam, fry some spam up for breakfast. Mm. Mm.
No, really, like the people that talk trash just haven't tried it. I've met like hundreds of people that talk mess on it. It's so funny, and they're just like, well, it just sounds gross. I'm like, it's just bacon in a can. That's all it is.
Do they
I get that.
understand what some of the cheese that they're eating that has to sit out there, or aged beef? Like, if people understood, dude, if people understood what the process for aging dry aged beef,
Don't tell me, man. I
and then
love
I
beef. I don't
like
want to
it.
know. Don't
I
tell
love
me.
beef. I love beef. I love
Don't tell me.
regular old good old fashioned corn sorghum fed beef. This grass fed stuff is mm-mm,
I'm
no
putting
credit.
down a pound a day myself. I think I need to up the numbers, honestly. But let me roll off of what you said. So you said the people, as people who review gear, we engage with a lot of people, right? Through this YouTube format. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. I've come to a similar conclusion, but I might phrase it a little bit differently. To me, it's the extremists.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't, and it's not just the people at the top that have a lot of money or buy the expensive gear, because I've seen it from top to bottom. I've seen extremists on the cheap side, on the middle side, and on the high end side. And the extremists are the people that, like you said, are they either just are specs only, right? Or just like really, really limited experience, but very, very strong opinion. And this strong opinion, which is an opinion, is presented as matter of fact
Right.
when it's
Yeah.
just opinion.
Sure. It's
That's a
subjective,
form,
right?
right? That's extremism, and extremism is never good. Another thing they do is they believe in rules. They seem to forget this is a hobby, and there's no rules actually. You want to put your bookshelf speaker sideways, bro? Do it. I don't think it will sound the best, but if it sounds good enough for
They're
you,
yours.
that's okay, bro.
You
Yeah,
own them. If you want to put
right.
ketchup on your steak, put ketchup on your steak.
That's exactly right. So the people that believe in like rigid rules, like, and we've all seen like it's almost like a meme at this point. Don't post a picture of an untreated room on audio file form with nice speakers in it. The people freak out. Everyone starts judging the room. Oh, why would that guy put $10,000 speakers in a room. There's no rug. He's got tile floor. What's he thinking? And everybody loses their marbles. And it's like, chill, man. Maybe it sounds great. Maybe it's amazing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you don't know. It's not like your way or the highway. It could be your way or the highway in your own listening space.
Sure, and it should be.
But don't force me to believe what you believe. You know what I mean? Like some guys think subwoofers don't belong in 2 channel. No problem, brother. I respect you.
Cool.
Some guys think they should have 4 18-inch subwoofers in every room of the house.
Cool.
God bless you too, brother. I love you too, you know. So that's my kick. So it sounds like we're pretty much on the same page there, you know.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why that tendency concerns me so much is because let's say there's a kid, he's getting on the and he's watching the YouTube, right? And he's looking at the comments or he gets on. Now I don't get on any forums. Like I don't even know, like I don't get Reddit. Now my stepson he's like explained what Reddit is, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. It seems like so subreddit. Okay. Okay, I still don't get it. But it is so damaging to someone that's new in the hobby. They have $300 and they want to go buy something. And you have
hmm
people, and I would say I get very passionate about this. I would say they're mindless automatons who are repeating propaganda
Yes.
that has
Yes.
been absolutely banged into them through industry, and who's benefiting from that, who's
Yep.
benefiting from the super expensive cables or whatever it is. It's damaging to people. It pushes them away and makes them say, well, all right, I'm just going to keep listening to my headphones. And I will tell you that people that identify that issue, people that say, hey, this expensive stuff I don't think is worth, a lot of the other stuff, is going to benefit high-end audio. Because if you don't get a new generation into the hobby, then who's going to be left to buy that high-end stuff, right?
Yeah.
The kids need, the younger people, the people that don't have a ton of money need to come in here, because I would say that some people are going to get their $300 system or $400 system and be completely fine. And that's it. You know what? They go throughout life. They're good. I would argue that more people are like you and I, and enjoy the hunt for the next cool thing, the hunt for this, that the extra out of the
Mm,
music. There's going to be more of those than the people that are just happy, and they will benefit high-end audio. Channels that make fun of high-end audio are good for high-end audio. That's just the way it is. You
yeah.
get more people into the hobby, there's going to be more people buying high-end audio. It may not be tomorrow, but it's going to happen.
Well said, honestly. I mean, it's the community, like
I get excited.
if it, I love that. That's good. That's how we should.
Yeah.
It's a hobby. It's got to be fun. You know what I mean? Or we got to go off on tangents and dude, this is like what it's about. This is what I do. This I love this. So thank you.
Yeah.
Um, no, you're absolutely right. If the audiophile community is only shrinking, that's bad for everyone. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just bought a house recently, and guess what? The living room is what I call a soundbar living room.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
cannot accommodate a home theater. It can't. There's a staircase on both sides because it's 3 floors. It's a recessed wall, and you can only fit a sound bar. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Now, I've chosen to put a media console there and shove those monitor audios on top,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I'm a damn rebel, you know. But that this home is designed for a sound bar because that's what's popular.
Right.
And if there's less and less hobbyists, guess what, guys? That's about all you're going to see in the about like 30 years, right?
Well,
Um,
so my room's very similar. So my bedroom has basically an alcove in the back, and it's really
mm,
probably only about 6 foot wide, right? And so, and then there's walls, right? So you can't, and then of course I've got speakers. So my wife is not going to allow me to hang a 13-inch deep speaker on the wall. And
oh
so
yeah,
I've got them right there. I've just got them right there. But what I did is I got some really good sound staging speakers, wide dispersion speakers. and it works. It works.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me see. So, um, I got a few other things on here, but like we don't have to hit everything. I don't know how long you normally do these for.
I, I, I mean, Gutenberg and I, or Steve and I, did it for like 8 minutes. But Ron and I have a podcast for an hour. I don't think. Guess what, man? There's no rules.
All right. All
We can
right.
talk for however long we want. I don't know how many people will stay for the till through its entirety.
How long have we been on right now?
I don't know. It's not giving me a time. Let me
Let me
see.
see.
Hold on, bro. Let me look at your time.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. I'll send you the link. That was at 10:15. We might have been going at this for an hour.
Oh, damn. So let's just maybe do like one more. So, because I feel like an hour is the sweet spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After that, people are like, dude, these guys just like have a phone call. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me read through the list. See which one of these pictures I want to ask. One of these questions I want to ask. Unless you have one, I totally don't mind, of course. Um,
Find it. What is it? Get it.
mm,
You got it.
you got a pet there? Are you
No,
talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Oh,
Saying
dude.
you got the question. Find it, man.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay. Let's just do the next one, honestly. Um, what's the most important audio component in your opinion? Whether it be speakers, preamp, amplifier, cables, the electricity that comes through the walls, the speaker stands, you know what I mean? The wife that lets you do it all. Like what's
Well, okay. So we need to, one of those needs to come out of the category, and that's the wife. Okay. So that
I'm
is
kidding.
happening. That's real. Okay. That is a very difficult question. Okay. I would say for me personally, it is not the power, it is not the cables at this point. I'm not saying I'm not going to get to that point where I see the value and I see the differences. Right now, that is not something that I will say this. I'm not going to have contempt, pride, or investigation. I haven't investigated enough. So I don't have enough experience with those aspects. I have found that amp and speaker pairings have a significant impact on the sound. And I think just due to the design of speakers, I either crossover the drivers chosen, how large that enclosure is, how that enclosure is tuned, how long the port is. I would say that the speaker is going to have the most impact on the sound signature. With that said, I think amps are not far behind because I think they definitely can have a sound signature too. So that's probably my question. And like I have I've been through enough DACs now that I've like, okay, they have a sig too. So, but if I had to place an order, it would be speakers, amp, and then source.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
What about you?
So I I so I'm gonna answer for me personally, right? I don't think it's a one size fits all. I think it depends on the person, but for me, I'm gonna say the amplifier itself. And when I say amplifier, I mean integrated amp if that's what you're using, or preamp, power amp together if that's what you're using. Because I think it's really important, especially for someone getting into this, to have real quality power. And what I mean by that is the Emotiva TA100 or even the Iota VX SA3 are two really good examples of real wattage, 50 watts a channel. But it's a real, honest to God, 50 watts a channel. You can dig into that volume knob all the way, and you'll just be rewarded with more volume as long
You
as the
know,
speakers can take it. Go to the local Best Buy or electronics store, you can't even find a AVR or stereo amp there that's 50 watts a channel. They're all rated 100 watts, 120 watts a channel.
10% THD, one channel driven.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
get that 100 watts and fry your speakers because it's clipping so horribly.
exactly. So like I think the quality power really matters. Um And I think as long as you have a good amp with quality power.
Oh, you're talking about quality powers and like the transformer and having clean watts. Okay, I thought you were talking about quality powers from like the wall going into a power
Oh,
conditioner.
I was like using
Okay,
like I was for
okay,
sure being an extremist, like saying that. Yeah.
okay.
Some people believe that. You know what I mean? We're all different
Well,
here.
good. That's awesome. I don't have enough experience to make a statement about it. Um,
Yeah.
Vista Audio Spark, 20 watts per channel. And I put 85 dB speakers on it, 83
Hmm.
dB speakers on it, and it got as loud as I wanted it to.
Does that bad boy have a remote?
No, it is
Ah,
old school.
need
It
a
is,
remote.
well, you can put a DAC on it as a remote and basically
I
use
don't
it.
have it. I don't have one. I only have the Blue Sound Node 2i and then the Modius.
Yeah. The Blue Sound doesn't have a remote?
Through like app control volume slider,
Yeah.
but I do so like the way I listen to music is kind of weird. I um I listen to music and then I enter that stage between sleep and awake.
Uh-huh.
And everyone knows it's like a magical place to be. And through like years of practice, I've been able to just like stay there for like a while without falling asleep. And I will occasionally move my hand to adjust the volume, like via the remote, because some songs are, if you listen to something like you know, um, Africa by Toto, super low volume song compared to something recorded today, right? I need to crank my amp has 256 volume steps. I'm running Africa by Toto at like 120, while every other song that's modern is at like 25, 30. Anyhow,
Wow. Have you
yeah,
heard
I
the
yeah, big
Weezer
difference.
version?
Love Weezer, love them. Usually have great recording quality. I felt like their cover of that song was bad quality. Honestly, it bummed me out.
Yeah. I listen to I use that song a lot. I use that song for Symbol Decay. I dig it. They did a whole album of like covers, man.
Did they really?
Oh yeah. I don't know what it's called. I'll ping you after this. Uh the
Okay.
whole the whole record is like 80s cover song and it's fantastic. It's so much fun. I love it.
Okay.
But the Vista Audio, dude, it's super old school, toggle switches, no remote, um, two analog inputs. That's it. And that is my amp, my favorite amp right now.
Really?
It is so good.
What does it cost?
389.
I remember Sean reviewed it a while back. Is this the Spark 2, I think it's called now?
Yeah, it's the latest one, but they're coming. I think they're working on a different one now,
Is this
but
a Sparkier one?
it could be. Yeah, yeah.
I hope it has a remote.
It's the Vista Audio Arc. It's arcing instead of just sparking.
I want you to know, Randy, even if you never mentioned you had kids, I would know you had kids.
Why do you say
I would just know dad jokes, dad energy.
that?
Okay, you're
I
like the
think it's a
kind of dude.
lack of dad. I think it's a lack of energy.
No, but that like I feel like you're the type of cat that like you'll like make a joke, but like you'll laugh the hardest, and that's what
Oh
makes the
yeah.
joke funny, and then everyone starts to laugh even harder.
My wife is so happy that I'm doing this because I get all of it out on video now. And so she's like, we don't have to listen to your nonsense anymore.
I love that. So this is saving the marriage.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that big
I
a
was just
jeopardy
kidding.
though, but
I
I
was just
think it's
kidding.
I think it's contributed to the happiness factor for sure, man.
All right, so let me see. Should I do a couple more? What do you think?
Maybe one more, and then I probably number one, I need to get to bed because the only reason I'm up right now is because I had to take a last minute flight last night and then drive a vehicle back up this
Mm,
morning. And I've been going off. I have I do a lot of these at night and I do a lot of editing at night because
yeah.
I have a full-time job. And so I've been burning the candle at both ends. And I've been putting out about a video every day. So
Oh,
it
we
is
notice. We notice, Randy. Yeah, we see that
uh
going hard.
but I've been burning at both ends. So I get home today. I got home about 4:30, and like my wife took one of my daughters out to dinner, and my youngest is at grandma's, and so the house was totally quiet. And I was like, I laid down, and I'm testing some IEMs right now, and I put the IEMs in, and like I didn't get through one song, and I was
Mm.
out. And I'm not talking about like a nap. I'm talking about I'm in REM sleep. I mean, I'm having dreams, and so the only reason I'm even up right now is because I got about an hour and a half, 2 hour nap when I got
That's
home.
cool. You want to wrap this up because you don't like me. I understand. You got it. I'm, I'm just
It's
kidding.
all right. I deal with people that I don't like every day, and I make them feel comfortable. I'm just kidding, dude. You're
I
awesome.
know. That likewise, brother. Thank you. Here, best question on the list so far, in my opinion. Are you a dog guy or a cat guy? And we'll end it on that.
All right. So I'm a dog guy.
Good.
I've grown up with dogs. I love dogs. I'm at a point in my life, though, where I cannot properly care for a dog and give it what it needs from like walks, exercise, attention, like that. So we do have a dog. It's a little, at one time we had three boxers, and
Mm.
I'm a big boxer fan, love boxers, and it was too much. It was too much. And they were wild because we didn't spend enough time with them. We weren't responsible dog owners. We didn't give them what they needed. No, I'm serious. If a dog
Yeah.
gets what it needs, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
If you don't give a dog what it needs, then their energy comes out sideways. And I really don't feel like there's a bad dog. I feel like it's been neglected, or it hasn't been cared for properly. So right now we have a little Pomeranian. Actually, one of the sponsors one time was like
Yeah.
George's free range Pomeranians, and I picked up
God
a Pomeranian,
bless.
and I said, the and I didn't say taste better. I just go, the free range Pomeranians just are better. And then I put her down, and then she ran
I
away. Free
love
range
that.
Pomeranians. Yeah,
That's great.
Peter loved that.
You know what? Oh, don't even get me started on
I
them.
don't even know. Peter didn't even watch it. Peter doesn't even know I exist.
They're coming to dox you right now. I mean, but I'm just kidding. So I'll agree. Look, I love cats. I love all animals, but I love dogs, man. I don't even care what kind of dog it is. French bulldog, you know what I mean? Little yapper teacup poodle, bulldog, pit bull. I don't care. Or, hold on, not pit bull, Staffordshire Terrier,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
Staffordshire Terrier is a
Yeah.
loving dog. Pit bull, violent dog. Staffordshire Terrier, loving
Well,
dog.
so I'm gonna disagree with you. My wife's aunt owned a pit bull rescue, and at
Yeah,
one time she had over 40 pit bulls. Now, some of them did have some pretty major behavioral issues, but those dogs also came from fighting rings,
yeah,
came from a lot of stuff, and that was her mission, man.
yeah.
She now, not all the dogs were pit bulls, but 97% of them were pit bulls.
No, I'm
And so,
totally kidding. I love them. I love pits, honestly.
well, good. Well, I think they get a bad rap.
Well, my jab was, so Staffordshire Terrier is what they call them when they don't want to say pit bull.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
See, I missed that.
yeah. Sorry, yeah. It's
No,
all good. But
I'm
yeah,
an idiot.
it's the same dog. It's the
Yeah,
same dog. It's all good,
Staffordshire
brother.
Terrier. That's
It was a
funny.
bad joke, you know what I mean? You don't like me, no problem. All right.
No, it was a bad person that you gave it to, because my intelligent level is not. It was dumb. I wasn't aware of that.
No, I think
I learned
you're up
something
here.
every day, man.
God bless. All right. Well, hey, look, I just want to say thank you for doing this with me. I had a fantastic time.
No, you're
This
solid,
is our
bro.
first time talking, but I feel like
Yeah.
I'm just talking to an old buddy, honestly.
Well, we have a few things in common: spam, audio,
God bless. Mm-hmm.
dogs,
Mm-hmm.
facial hair.
God bless.
Yeah,
Yes.
our love of flat build caps.
It is the best hat.
I mean,
It is.
we go camping together. We could
We
go.
could.
We could quarter up an elk and pack it out through the vicious wilderness together.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds like a good time.
That's when you go kill an elk, and
I
then
would like to do that. I love
you
guns.
have to quarter it out and then pack it out, and an elk has like 400 pounds of meat on it. So because you have to go in, it's a hunting thing. And I'm sorry if anybody's against hunting, it's fine. I get it. But that's part of my life and part of my childhood. So that's just who I am. I do it ethically.
I don't think anyone minds.
Yeah, probably not. Hopefully not. All right, bro. You want to call it? Did I lose you?
No, everyone eats food. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Until next time.
All right, bud.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.